Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a new video. So this is my 2018 F80 M3. I am currently tuned on boot mode stage 2. And one of the really cool things about the program of boot mode is that you're able to adjust the burble settings. Burble settings in this day and age, it can go both ways. Some people love them, some people hate them. So if you guys are not familiar what burbles are the kind of pops and bangs that you hear in different driving scenarios. So upshift, downshift, decels. You guys may be familiar with the sounds of the crackle tunes, the burble tunes. It's basically the car pulling timing and then releasing all the extra gases out the back and basically making that popcorn bang effect. For me, as I get older, I prefer it more on the quiet side. I don't really like the obnoxious burbles as I once used to when I was younger, but I do get the appeal to them. So what I actually want to do in this video is go over the few different settings that I have tried, the few different setups, so people can get an idea of what the adjustments can actually make and just how things can sound. So the first setup that I tried was just the off-the-shelf burble. Now, when I first tuned the car on stage 2 with boot mode, I just left it alone. I just wanted to get used to the tune and the new power and everything. I didn't really want to adjust anything. So I just selected the OTS, the off-the-shelf burble. I drove like that for a few weeks, getting used to the new power and just the feel of the car and everything. And I actually did a video reviewing the boot mod stage 2 and what I thought of it and everything, and just kind of my initial reaction of it. If you guys went back to that video and listened to the burbles on that, they're pretty over the top. It's pretty insane. It is fun and it did make me smile, but at the end of the day, driving something like that all the time definitely kind of bothered me in a way, because I just didn't like, I don't want to say how obnoxious, but how loud the burbles and pops were. So I'm going to insert some clips here of me driving as well as some revving clips so you guys can hear what the off-the-shelf burble sounds like on stage 2 boot mode. So if you were able to tell, it was pretty loud, pretty obnoxious, a lot of pops and bangs. It had that popcorn effect, which I'm not really a big fan of. Again, I get the appeal to it, but for every single day, it did get a little bit annoying, because every single shift, downshift or upshift, you would get that really loud pop and bang, and it just got to be too much, at least for me. So in my quest to kind of fine-tune things, I wanted to try out the different settings and see if there's anything else that I liked. So after trying the off-the-shelf tune and realizing it just wasn't my thing, what I wanted to do was kind of dial it back, start from a blank slate, and then kind of tune it up from there. So from there, I went over to turning the burbles completely off. I wanted to experience the car and the exhaust sound and just hear what it sounds like with no burbles, no pops, no bangs, and just see if I liked it. So I'm going to insert a few quick clips here with the no burbles, a little bit of in driving as well as some revving. So after experiencing the no burbles, I realized that although I really did like it, I wanted a little bit of aggression. I really like the sound of the exhaust on decel when there was some gurgling and just kind of some throaty sounds. I'm really not a big fan of the pops and bangs, just the kind of, throaty exhaust sound on decel. So from there, I started playing around with the other settings. There's quite a few different ones, but I got recommended to try out the GTS burble. Basically, the GTS is a mimic of the M4 GTS, so it has very similar characteristics. It has the same settings as the M4 GTS, so I wanted to try that one out. Trying the GTS, I absolutely loved it. It was perfect. There was no crazy loud pops and bangs. It was very subtle, but it had a nice aggression to it. It had a nice gurgling during decels and everything, and I was a really big fan of it. Now, I don't have any in-cabin GTS sounds, but I do have some revving so you guys can hear what it sounds like. If you notice, there's really not many pops and bangs. It's just some really, really good throaty sounds. Have one issue with it when I was recording that rev clip. If you guys notice, once I get over around 4,500 RPMs, the RPM actually hangs out in the 5,000, 4,500 RPM range for much longer. And I was like, what is going on? Something seems kind of iffy. So I'm going to insert that clip here so you guys can hear what I'm talking about. I thought that was a little weird, so I reached out to Bootmod and I was like, hey, you know, what's going on? Here's a sound clip. I noticed that the revs kind of hang out in the GTS burble. You know, what is going on? They end up getting back to me and explaining that is entirely normal. Basically, they were explaining that the exhaust gas temperatures are too high, so it's not going to pop and burble for safety measures. And they were explaining that is the exact setting as a GTS. They even looked at the RPM range or the RPM cutoff on the GTS settings, and that is exactly what is supposed to happen. So if you notice, anytime that I rev over 4,500, I get that long rev hang, and then eventually kicks down and goes back down to zero normal. So because of that, I wasn't a fan of it, because hey, I like to rev the car, it sounds really good, so I don't want to kind of experience that, and I wasn't a big fan of the rev hang. So I was like, all right, instead of messing with the preset settings, let me go ahead and try out some custom tunes. Let me see if I can find something very, very similar to the GTS, but my own setting, kind of change it up a little bit and make it my own. So my first rendition, my first custom burble, is the one I'm going to let you hear in a few seconds. I've just have an exterior clip of that revving, so here's that clip right here. To realize as I drove around more, the exhaust got up to temp and everything. It really sounded similar to the off the shelf. And what I mean by that is there was a lot more pops and bangs that I really wanted. Even though it was set pretty low, I still was experiencing all of those pops and bangs. I wasn't a big fan of it. So I wanted to dial things back even more. I was like, you know what? Let me dial it back as much as possible and see what I think. Just kind of go from there. You know, don't turn them off completely, but kind of bump up the ranges a little bit and see what I like. So that brings me to my current setting, my current and final setting that I have right now. I'm going to put in a few clips for you guys so you guys can hear it and just know exactly what I'm talking about before we start discussing. perfect in my opinion. That is exactly what I was looking for. There's no loud pops or bangs or anything like that. To me, it is perfect. It's very, very similar to the GTS. However, there's a little bit longer duration, and I'm able to rev it out as much as I want and still get the really, really nice gurgling decel sounds. So bumping up the aggression is going to allow the more pops and bangs. So I really, really wanted to dial that back. So I set that at 0.08. And what that actually did was leave the gurgles, but it took away all the obnoxious loud pops and bangs. And I left the duration at 1.8. Now this is in Sport Plus, which is what I drive in mostly. And honestly, absolutely perfect. It gives it a nice aggressive note, but it's not obnoxious and it's the right amount. Now I may bump it up to around 2 for the duration, but I'm gonna leave the aggression at 0.08. I think it's absolutely perfect. In all types of driving scenarios, I realize there's no pops and bangs, maybe one once in a while when I'm really driving hard and everything is warm and hot. Otherwise, driving around normal, it is absolutely perfect. Now in sport mode, I did a quick clip of that as well, and it is even less than Sport Plus, which is perfect. So if I'm just kind of cruising around, want to have some fun, but I'm not really getting after it, it is the right amount of gurgling and just no pops and bangs, which is perfect. In efficient mode, there are 0 pops or anything like that. So to me, I have the perfect 3 different settings: efficient, no pops and bangs; sport, a little bit; Sport Plus, a little bit more aggressive, but there's still no obnoxious pops and bangs, and just not over the top, which is exactly what I was looking for. Now, I understand this may not be for everybody, but I feel like it's a good starting point. I did post my settings up on my Instagram story, and a lot of people were interested in not only hearing it, but getting an idea of all the different settings that I tried so they can start somewhere. I know when I started, I had no idea where to start. It was basically me just playing around with the different settings and seeing what I like. So I feel like this video would be really helpful, so at least give some people a place to start, see what they like, and then go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it gave you some idea of where to start, what kind of pops and bangs and burbles that you do like. There are so many different adjustments with boot mode. It's one of the reasons why I absolutely love the platform. You can really, really fine tune it to your own sound and everything. And I'm really enjoyed the aspect of that. And you can honestly change it on the fly. Literally takes 15 seconds to upload the new burble once you are tuned, super quick, and you can just change it again anywhere that you want. I can change it right here if I wanted to and go have some fun. But the current and last setting that I showed you guys is exactly what I was looking for, and I'm super thrilled with it. So I encourage you guys to try it out. You can try any of the settings, the ones that I've listed in this video, see which one you like, and then go from there. So let me know in the comments below which one you guys prefer. Maybe leave your settings as well to help some other people out. Maybe do a little explanation so people can maybe work off of those as well. So those are my 4 different burble settings that I have tried and ultimately landed on one that's not too crazy, not too aggressive, but just right in my opinion. So if you guys have any questions at all about the car, the burble settings, or anything else, please leave them in the comments below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.